Welcome to the Birth Breakdown, a mini-sode series from Her Birth, Her Story. These short episodes are here to open conversations around pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. Things I believe every woman deserves to look into, to question, and just to feel empowered by. This isn't about telling you what to do or what's right and what's wrong. It's about giving you space to think, to learn, and to trust yourself a little bit more as you prepare for your birth. Let's break it down. Today's topic is one that I feel is so very important, and that is the menstrual cycle. I strongly encourage every single woman out there to really take a deep dive into what our menstrual cycle is, what it does, and the best ways that you can support yourself during each of the phases of this time. Because a lot of times, society in general just depicts it as something that is negative. We loathe when we get our period because of how we feel. And we're just constantly, instead of supporting our body through it, we're just constantly trying to do the same routines all the time. And maybe that works for some, but other times, there might need to be some adaptations that we need to make in our diet, even in exercise to help promote what phase of our cycle we're on. So what is the menstrual cycle? It is the body's monthly rhythm that prepares for a possible pregnancy. That doesn't mean that every single day of the month you can get pregnant. Because actually, when you really look at the phases and you look at the breakdown of each phase of the menstrual cycle, there's only a short window that you are able to truly get pregnant. And that's obviously during the ovulation because it takes an egg and a sperm to be able to create a pregnancy. But this normally lasts anywhere from 21 days to 35 days. 28 days is textbook, but that does not mean that that is what is truly normal. That's why I encourage everyone to actually track your cycles, track your periods so that you can see what is the normal for you. Why does this matter? This matters because this is the clearest sign that a woman's body is functioning well. The menstrual cycle is a health signal. It doesn't just say, I'm fertile. There are plenty different phases of this cycle that it is important to track and to note how you feel, how long you're in this phase, because it can bring up a lot of different red flags, green flags on how your body is functioning. And even in the medical world, especially if they work in women's health, they always say that your whole menstrual cycle is a vital sign into your health. By tracking your whole entire cycle, this helps being able to spot problems early. And when you're actually really looking into your cycle as a whole, it can really help flag these things early as well. It helps to work with your body instead of against it, improves your mental and emotional health. It also empowers you to make informed choices about fertility, and it just helps you advocate for yourself too. I think that knowledge is power. So when you know more, you're able to just help promote overall health for yourself, whether you're wanting a pregnancy or not. So now let's jump into the different cycles. So the first phase is called the menstrual phase. And during this time, it starts on the first day of bleeding. So the first day that you get your period, and it can last anywhere from 5 to 7 days. And if it goes beyond 7, that might be indicating something to look further into. So during this time, it's so important to focus on replenishing nutrients. So that's definitely something to make sure that you look into. What kind of nutrients do we need to replenish? How is that beneficial? And hydrating. Anytime we're excreting, you should always be replenishing and hydrating as much as you can. One of the best things to pair with this cycle with exercise is actually gentle movement. It's not saying that you can't lift heavy and stuff. It just you might feel less motivated to be able to do that. You might not be able to do as much weight as what you did the previous week or 2 weeks before, but rest is actually pretty productive during this time. Just being able to recoup, replenish really helps during this phase. You know that you are in the menstrual phase is bleeding. So obviously the first day of bleeding when you start, and it's always important to know what color it is, how much, how often do you have to, change your pads, tampons, whatever. How often do you have to do that? And unfortunately, during this time, this is the part of the cycle that a lot of women loathe. So if this is something that you loathe because you have so many different symptoms that are just annoying, definitely talk with your provider about maybe what those symptoms can indicate. And this is just a tidbit too. Don't let your provider just kind of gaslight you into saying that your symptoms don't matter, because just because they say it's normal doesn't mean that it can't be helped or fixed. So then that brings us to our next phase, which is the follicular phase. This is the buildup phase. This is where you start to feel really good because your body is prepping for the release of an egg. And this normally happens day 6 to 13, but obviously this happens after your period is done, after the bleeding has stopped. This lasts up to 7 to 10 days. This is the best time to get things done. You feel energized, you feel more motivated, and a lot of times this is everyone's favorite part of the menstrual cycle because they just feel a lot more creative. For exercise purposes, this is the best time to be lifting heavy, doing the very hard things, the PRs, all of that, because you feel the strongest, you feel the best. And the best thing that you should be looking into diet-wise is just how to support yourself during that time. This is a great time to build up nutrients. When you look at your cervical mucus, then you are able to see more of like a creamy or sticky cervical mucus. Our third phase is the ovulatory phase, and this is the peak of the cycle, and this is when an egg is actually released. So ovulation itself only lasts 12 to 24 hours, but you do have a fertile window of 4 to 6 days. That's why if you are not trying to get pregnant, this window, you want to take extra precaution. And during this time, you want to obviously eat and hydrate to promote ovulation. And during this time, your cervical mucus is normally very clear, slippery, kind of like egg whites. And then the last phase of our cycle is called the luteal phase. This is like the wind down phase. So we literally hit our peak at ovulation. Now we're winding down to get ready to prepare for our next cycle. This normally happens on day 15 to 28. If you have a 28-day cycle, and it will last anywhere from 12 to 14 days, depending on your cycle. This phase is important because your body's either prepping for the implantation and the pregnancy, or it is getting ready to regulate for your next cycle. And you definitely want to look into how supporting your blood sugar might help you during this phase. And also, this might be where you need to dial it down a little bit in the gym, just to still, you can lift heavy, but maybe you're going to need to use a little bit lighter weights and do more reps. And so obviously you want to look into each of these cycles to see how you can best support you. So I strongly encourage you to look into tracking your whole cycle, not just tracking just your period, because a lot of times we already are tracking our period because we want to know when bleeding's going to start, when are we going to start feeling PMS, but start tracking it from the beginning all the way until your next period, because you can really see how to best support your body. And definitely talk with a provider, somebody that you trust that works in women's health, that can help show you what great things you should be doing to promote better health during this time. Because a lot of times, especially with women, things end up being very complex, and it's not just, oh, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to push myself in the gym, and I'm going to do this. Women are different than men, and men can do that because their hormones restart every day. But women, we actually go through this 28-day cycle where our bodies are doing such miraculous things during each of these phases that support each other, that deserve to be looked into and valued. So I strongly encourage you to track your cycle. There are plenty of apps out there that help you track your symptoms of every day, your cervical mucus, your period, all of the above. And Some other things that you can look into is basal body temperature that you take every single morning, your cervical mucus. I know the Aura Ring has different things as well. So make sure that you look into your menstrual cycle, the phases, and how you can best support your body during this time. And just remember, your menstrual cycle is actually something that should be embraced and celebrated, not loathed all the time. It's not something that's negative. It's actually something that is so beneficial to us women. That's all for today's birth breakdown. If this episode sparked curiosity, affirmed something you've been feeling, or gave you a new perspective, I'd love for you to share it with another mom or mom-to-be who might need it. Make sure you're following Her Birth, Her Story, and if you feel called, leaving a review is one of the best ways to support this space, and it helps these conversations reach more women. Until next time, remember, this is your body, your baby, and your story. We are reclaiming birth one story at a time.